Welcome to 108 Gate. Straight away, apologies, I have a cold and I may sound even stranger than usual. So we're still going ahead. I don't want to not do the readings. So here we go. We are looking at the Divine Feminine reading today first. So here we go. A very productive vibe. It feels like there's a stop. Take stock of what's been happening. Take stock of where one has been. Checking in with self kind of energy, which is interesting. So let's have a look what's coming up. So we've got compassion, checking in with oneself, and bringing some awareness to where we may have been pushing too hard, where we may have been not pushing hard enough. Where we may have been compromising ourselves is the most accurate way of putting it. Endurance, here we go. So endurance, usually we think of it and it's like stamina to keep going, keep going, keep going. This actually is coming in, very interestingly, in the opposite direction. It's coming in as in, do you have the endurance and stamina to take a rest? Do you have the endurance and stamina to just do what's the correct thing for you? And what I mean by that is often we can just keep pushing and we haven't gauged our limits, we haven't gauged our boundaries in certain situations, certain circumstances. So we just keep going until we hit a breaking point. So enthusiasm, although it's great, it does feel like it needs to be monitored, it needs to be watched appropriately, it needs to be tended to. It's asking for some attention, it's asking for some awareness. Wow. So 8 of coins, keep building. So the thing about the keep building is it's coming in again literally as a you can keep building, and the best way to keep building is to make sure you're also taking that time to rest. You're taking that time to rejuvenate yourself. You're taking that time to stop, recalibrate, acknowledge the progress you're making, acknowledge where you have improved, acknowledge your next steps, where you started off and where you are now, the distance you've already come. So you're acknowledging your endurance on that level, but now also making sure your endurance in taking care of yourself, in being kind to yourself, is also equally, if not more, taken into account. So High Priestess, the higher perspective is, if you are burning the candle at both ends, there's going to be nothing left. So making sure that you're taking that time. It just keeps like filling your cup up. It feels like just refilling your cup up, making sure you're at top optimal level of yourself, optimal level of where you are heading, optimal level of where you have been. Any diversions or distractions that have been around or that have been keeping you from being your optimal self in the past, letting those go. So letting go of the fixation on certain things. If there's certain things that keep going round and round in your mind, figuring out on some level if it's something that's actually worthwhile holding in your psychology, in your energy field, or is it actually time for it literally to be like a helium balloon and you just cut the string or let the string go, let it float away, possibly never to be seen again, possibly never to be thought again. So Queen of Cups coming in with self-love, self-care, self-mastery, of making sure that you are taking your time to care for yourself. So let me get another card. This is really important because it's feeling, there you go, Hangman. It's feeling really important because the level of self-care that you may require for what's coming up hasn't been considered yet. So yes, you've been making progress, yes, you've been taking better care of yourself, and now it's like asking for a leveling up in your self-care. So the Hangman here is a different perspective to be looked at. so you can get a better understanding of, now take your self-care to another level. What does that look like? What does that mean? And it's not about a spa day or anything like that. It may be a spa day for some of you, but I think it's more than that. I think it's deeper than that. It's how do you switch off? So people sometimes say that they're sitting down and they're not physically doing anything, but yet their mind is still racing. Their mind is still running on the to-do list. Their mind is still thinking about, when I'm back off this chair, off this sofa, off this beach, whatever it is, do you go back into the same rat race kind of energy? Do you go back into the same sprinting kind of energy? Or are you actually going to have, or it's asking you to have, a more sustainable, calm approach when you re-enter back into the field, when you re-enter back into doing something again? So this time of year is not it's not uncommon to be questioning our motivation and our goals and our dreams and aspirations. So just knowing that, yes, it's a long-term game. So that means you're going to need long-term self-care, long-term self-help, and to be proactive with it emotionally. When you say you're going to switch off, are you switching off? Is the phone still beeping? Is the laptop still open and you're like, oh, I can do a few more of this, do a bit more of that, do a bit more of this? Do you actually switch off? Like I said, there was someone I was speaking to, gone to a off-grid, not just offline, off-grid retreat. Are you making sure you have time to yourself, like no electromagnetic fields around you, just taking a day or taking a few hours of just like switch off? Switch off. As you do this and your perspective of taking better self-care comes in, you're going to find that you're communicating with yourself and communicating with others in a different level. Your thought patterns are going to be different. Your sensitivity to certain things that are not correct are going to be different, because you're not going to be in a hypersensitive go mode. So it's not looking at just what's going to be done, it's what am I doing? How can I do this better? Where can I change this to be better? Where can I change that to be more efficient and effective? How can I just stop first? Have I fully stopped? So when you are sitting down, putting your feet up, whatever you do, whatever, knitting, whatever it is, I don't know, puzzle, whatever it is you do to slow right down, maybe put some ideas in the comments below, because I think we can all always usually benefit from some new ideas. Sometimes they're just things we don't think about, or we haven't tried, or we've forgotten that we wanted to try. So how do you relax? Do you go on a hike? Do you go, like, literally just, it's a matter of changing your perspective. It's a matter of switching your mind off from the to do. And even if it is hiking, it's like, but your mind is going to a different space of giving your body something nurturing, giving your body some outdoor time, possibly if you're cooped up in front of a laptop or a computer or in a certain area. Is giving your mind, giving your heart, giving your eyes, your senses something different. Therefore you have that discernment of, like, that's when I'm overworking, that's when I'm working healthily, that's when I'm resting actually effectively, so my body does have a chance to rejuvenate. My body does actually rest, and you can feel that resting, rather than I'm trying to rest but I'm running the to-do list in my head. I'm trying to rest, but I'm also keeping an eye on the clock to see when I can start going again. King of Swords, being more discerning with that, being more aware of what it actually looks like and what it means. And it really is a great energy, because the more you're doing that, the more you're feeling into that, the more it's going to be apparent of where you haven't been doing it and you thought you were doing it. You may have been led to feel guilty for doing it. You may have had comments, it's like, oh, nothing to do kind of thing. Like, so it's really about mainly claiming your power back in how you enjoy resting, how you enjoy taking that time out. Clarity. So I've got to say that this is here right now in this reading It feels like this is a prep kind of talk. It's a preparation for something that's about to come, because not only are we preparing for more to be happening at some point, more than we would have possibly had to endure before, hence endurance, but it's also the way in which we are going to be navigating this, the way in which we are going to be perceiving this is going to take a significant shift and change. So making sure that we are being aware of how are we wanting to rest, how are we actually resting, how can we change this to improve general self-care. So it seems like it's just a small little message, but it's quite significant because it's going to impact so much in the present and future, and it will bring up possibly things from the past, especially if any of you have experienced burnout or things like that, or exhaustion or anything like that. Nervous system stuff is literally going to be bringing a whole different energy and vibe in. So for now, I'm going to go and do the Divine Masculine reading, and I hope you enjoyed this. Please do subscribe, join the crew. For now, peace and love.